Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel, and today we're going to be looking at some rogue decks from Destined Rivals that are doing decent in Japan. Of course, Destined Rivals is a pretty big set, and we've looked at a lot of the competitive cards like Mewtwo and stuff, but I wanted to look at the rogue decks from the set, because this set is so big, and there's a lot of really cool cards within the set. Even if they're not, like, insanely competitive, I still wanted to look at them regardless for today's video, and I'm excited to see what cool decks are coming out of this set, because like I said, big set, a lot of cool stuff. I'm really excited for it to come out in a couple of weeks. Now, of course, I'll leave a link to Pokébook down in the description of the set I'm using to look at all the deck lists, and if you're new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're getting very close to 23,000 subs. I think we're less than 100 subs away. You want to help me reach that goal? Just click subscribe down below. And if you enjoy the video, leave a like. Now, to help out in this video, if you don't know what any of the cards do, I do have Pokemon proxies pulled up here. So we can look at what any of the cards do for this video, so you're not left in the dark. If I'm looking at a certain deck and you're like, what does that card even do? Well, we can pull them up here. So yeah, starting these off here, we have the Glory of Team Rocket Rogue decks on Pokébook. The first one we have to look at is a Huntail Gorbis deck here. So this one does look like it's going to be a fun one to play, mainly because Huntail and Gorbis actually have good synergy. So we do have the Huntail here with the ability Diver Catch. Whenever one of your water Pokemon get knocked out, all the basic water energy from that Pokemon can go back in your hand instead of the discard pile when the Huntail's in play. So this ability is nice because you don't have to discard the energy when something gets knocked out. And that's mainly because we're going to be playing this with the Gorbis, which has like basically a Baxcalibur attack or ability in the form of an attack, right? Crescendo Wave, 30 damage for each water energy on the Gorbis. Before doing damage, you may attach any number of basic water energy from a hand to this Pokemon. That's really cool. And so instead of having to play Baxcalibur's ability to power up Gorbis, you could just use the attack instead, which is cool. We haven't really seen an attack like that before. And within this deck here, you can see it does have the 3 Gorbis, the 2 Huntail, 4 Clamperl. I think the one issue with playing this archetype, though, obviously, is the fact you can only play 4 Clamperl in your deck. So maybe playing like an exchangeable ticket could be nice if you prize a Clamperl. So you have to kind of be very cautious with how you use your Pokemon. Because one, you want to have a Huntail in play, and then you want to have Gorbis. I guess you still have 2 Clamperls to work with. But prizing a Clamperl would grief you, obviously. This deck here, do see the heavy like Earthen Vessel. Got the Retrieval, Lana's Aid, a Reversal Energy, a lot of different ways to get energy and stuff for Night Stretcher to get your Pokemon back. It's got all the little baby guys. The Shaman for bench barrier. Does have Psyduck. We're not getting Psyduck, though. In Destined Rivals, obviously, stops Dusknoir. Unfortunately, we're not getting that right away. But it's a cool deck, and I'm definitely excited to play that combo. And then we have a really fun one here. We got a Team Rockets Tyranitar deck. We can scroll down to find the Rockets Tyranitar. So it's got this ability, Sandstream. When it's in the active spot, you can put 2 damage counters on each of your opponent's basic Pokemon during a Pokemon checkup, which is fairly powerful, right? That's a lot of damage you can rack up. It's very similar to an old Flygon and Weezing, and this ability definitely can be pretty annoying to deal with if Tyranitar goes unchecked. In this build here, the Tyranitar is like the main card. We got the 4-2-3 line of it. We do have Pidgey on the deck for some support. Does have Precious Trolley as the spec, 4 reversals, and the Team Rockets energy is a nice way to kind of build up your Tyranitar to get that thing powered up. Right, does need a lot of energy. And then there's an Ampharos in the deck here. We can look at what Rockets Ampharos does real quick here if we scroll up. So Rockets Ampharos does have an ability. Whenever your opponent plays a Pokemon from their hand to evolve a Pokemon, you put 4 damage counters on that Pokemon. However, the ability doesn't stack, but it's more ways to get damage on the board. Obviously, the thing with this deck is there's a lot of Stage 2s, has Trolley as A-Spec. I could even see Grand Tree being a pretty good A-Spec within this Tyranitar deck. I think you can play like Colress to find your reversals a bit easier, but I like the idea of this Tyranitar deck, and I think Tyranitar is going to be a fun one to try out for a lot of big spread potential. Next up is Nidoking EX here. Now this one looks pretty sweet because Nidoking has a fairly decent like attack. It's got the attack Dirty Horns. It does a Rockets Pokemon, keep in mind, does 100 damage. And then your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. You put 8 damage counters on that Pokemon instead of 1. So you're effectively doing 180 damage. You can obviously play like Jungle to do more damage. If you build up King's Impact, you can also hit really hard too. You can see this Nidoking deck here does just use Nidoking. Does have Petron in the deck, a couple Monkey Dories. Obviously, Monkey Dory could be good to do even more damage and heal your Nidoking. Nidoking is very bulky. It does have a lot of HP. There's the Janine in the deck to accelerate energy to the Nidoking, it looks like, so that obviously does help out too. And you got Secret Box, which is decent as a way to find your stuff. The one thing I guess with this list, there's no Perilous Jungle, which is interesting. But yeah, Nidoking definitely looks really cool. And I'm excited to try it out. Seems like it's decent. Poison isn't bad right now, and definitely can get a lot of value out of that. There's a Wailord deck here. This one's kind of like we've seen this before. We'll move on from that. We do have a Team Rocket's Arbok alakazam deck. So the Team Rocket's Arbok deck is interesting, right? Because of Arbok's ability, which Intimidating Glare. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent can't play any Pokemon cards with abilities from their hand. So that's interesting. Now, it has to be in the active, so your opponent can like gust around it or something, or if they have like an iron bundle in the deck. But the point is, your opponent cannot play Pokemon with abilities to counter this. So, like, they can't evolve into, like, ability Pokemon like Noctowl and stuff. This ability is very annoying, and in this deck, you're trying to slow them down with the Arbok and then beat them down with Alakazam. It's kind of like a hit-and-run deck, right? You attack from the bench with your Alakazam EX and you use the Arbok in the active spot. We might even see more hit-and-run Arbok decks in the future. There's other hit-and-run cards in the format, right? And this could be a decent way to play this Arbok. It's got a very disruptive ability that can be very annoying to play against, especially if you get, like, hand disrupted with, like, an Iono. Yeah, I could see this even working with, like, Unfair Stamp. You can go, like, Stamp Arbok. Could be pretty dirty. We have this Rotom deck here. I'm not sure. There's Rotom with Revavroom. All right, what do these Rotoms do? I don't even remember what these Rotoms do, actually. Let's see. Scroll up here. See what they do. There's, like, the Heat Rotom. Oh, it's Tool Drop. Okay, that's right. So the Rotoms have the Tool Drop attack where you do 30 damage for each tool card in play. So use Revavroom to put a bunch of tools on, and then Rotom comes in swinging. There's all kinds of different types for these Rotoms. You see Grass, Fire, Water, Lightning, which is pretty good. So you get some type coverage, and then use Revavroom. You put 4 tools on it, and then you hit even harder because you put more tools in play on one Pokemon. You're usually limited, right? So cool stuff. We have an Ampharos King Ambit deck. King Ambit knocks something out when there's 4 damage on it. Ampharos' ability does put 4 damage on that Pokemon so that it can get knocked out by King Ambit's attack. That's kind of sick. I haven't done a King Ambit video in a while, actually, so maybe Ampharos King Ambit will be one to try out. You even have the new Team Rocket's Bomb you can use to put damage counters on their Pokemon for the King Ambit. All right, we got a Team Rocket's Weezing deck. This one's crazy. We got a lot of Weezings and Coughings in here. You can see 12 Coughings and Weezings in this deck, and that's because of what the Weezing does here. We can scroll down and find it. So the Team Rocket's Weezing does have the attack Exploding Mob. Does 4 damage for each Pokemon in play with Weezing or Coughing in its name. So you can use the Rocket's Weezing and the normal Weezing to apply damage for the attack. And that does look cool. This deck does play Area 0, so you can play the Terapagos down. You can bench even more Coughing and Weezing. You do a ton of damage. You have Rocket's Energy and Reverse Energy to build up Weezing's attack costs. This one I'm definitely excited to try out. I think this Weezing is going to be a fun deck to play for sure, especially because you can play the 151 Weezing. When it gets knocked out, you flip a coin of heads. The attacking Pokemon also gets knocked out. That'll be a fun little troll for sure. And that one looks pretty cool, especially because you can attack for 1 energy fairly easily with the Rocket and Reversal combo. So we have an Articuno Zapdos Moltres deck, mostly revolving around the Team Rocket's Moltres EX here. You'll scroll up and find it. So yeah, the Team Rocket's Moltres does have the attack Flame Barrier, does 110 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 50 less damage from attacks, which is pretty strong, right? It's kind of like Gudra V-Star, where you can take less damage. And you have Evil Burn, discard 1 Rocket's Energy from the Moltres, and then if you do, you can discard your opponent's active Pokemon. So you don't take a prize, but you are getting rid of it, which can be, fairly decent in some situations. In this build, it does play the Articuno. The Articuno protects you from Dragapult's Phantom Dive damage. This deck also plays Hero's Cape, so you're trying to be a bit more tankier with the Moltres. You have Monkey Dory in there to heal the Moltres off, so mainly you just focus on that first attack, I guess, which is kind of neat. We got another Nidoking deck. Nidoking with Arbok and Pidgeot, so that's interesting. You can, I guess, slow down the opponent with Arbok, and then you have Nidoking, which can do some big poison damage. It's kind of, I guess, like the logic here. It's got Pidgeot, like I said, Secret Box, Devo, stuff like that. Got top 16, so it did decent. Got a Burn deck here. No new cards, really. We can just move on, I guess, in the Burn deck. We got another Burn deck. We got Burn Medicham. I think we've seen that before in, like, Journey Together, so nothing too new. Another Weezing deck here. This one does not play Area 0, so it can't really fill its bench up as much, but it relies a little bit more on the Team Rocket's engine. You can see a lot more Team Rocket cards in the deck, more Team Rocket supporters, more Team Rocket's Pokemon like Articuno and Mimikyu and stuff in this deck. All right, here's one that'll be interesting. We got the new Arboliva? Bro, I still can't pronounce this name. Arboliva. Bro, why can't I pronounce this thing, bro? It's crazy. Arboliva, there we go. All right, so it's got the attack Oil Machine Gun. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon 6 times, do 20 damage to it. Kind of a wild attack, right? Only for 1 energy, too, and you're stage 2, so you can obviously get out with Candy. It's a grass type. It only needs 1 energy, and this build here has it with Frostlass for even more spread potential. So all these like Frostlass Stage 2 decks like Grimmsnarl and stuff are catching more play now. And of course, you can use this guy to spread damage across the board with the first attack, and then you have Frostlass Monkey Dory to apply even more pressure. And it's an added benefit. It only needs 1 energy to do the attack anyways, which definitely does help out quite a bit. All right, we do have a Spidops deck here. So the Team Rocket Spidops is nice because it's got a... that's not it. Those are black and white cards. The new Spidops here does have the ability to charge up. Once your turn, you can put a base energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. It's like Naganadel, and then you have Rocket Rush, does 30 damage for each of your Team Rocket Pokemon in play. So this card could be good not only with Mewtwo EX, but by itself doesn't seem terrible either. This build even got top 8. You can play with other Rockets Pokemon. You see the Rockets Mimikyu, the Articuno, Zubat. There's a Kangaskhan in the deck too, which is interesting. But yeah, the Rockets Spidops is not a bad archetype by itself. You don't have to play it with Mewtwo. It's got self-energy acceleration. You have a nice engine behind it with all the Team Rocket supporters and stuff. So it doesn't seem like a terrible card either. So I'm definitely excited to play the Team Rockets Spidops, even if it's not with Mewtwo. Another Arboliva deck here with Dusknoir this time instead of Frostlass to blow stuff up. Even playing Grand Tree because you play so many lines of Stage 2 Pokemon. Makes sense. We got Metang, Heatran, Gigas. This one is kind of an older deck, though, so we'll move on from that. We have a Fortress deck with Pikachu in hand. This is like reverse Joltik. That's interesting. All right, we got another Arboliva deck here playing at Frostlass once again for the extra spread damage. Below that, there's another Weezing deck here. This one does not play the Area 0. I like the idea of Neutralization Zone, though, in this deck. Since you're playing all basics, you can play that other Team Rocket Stadium in here, which I guess we can quickly look at. If you don't know what it does, scroll all the way down here to the Team Rocket's Factory Stadium card. Once during either player's turn, if that player has played a supporter with Rocket in its name, you can draw 2 extra cards. So you can play like the Team Rocket's Guzma card, and then you can also use the Team Rocket's Factory to draw more cards. So you can do that, and if your opponent keeps bumping the stadium, you can eventually use the Neutralization Zone, stick it into play, and then Weezing just does a bunch of damage. So I really like the idea of Neutralization Zone in this deck. We have another Nidoking Arbok Pidgeot deck here. This one only has a 1/1 line of Arbok, though, but has a very heavy count of Nidoking, obviously. Nidoking Pidgeot seems kind of cool. Another Huntail deck. This one's draw engine is going to be the Dunsparce in the deck to help draw some cards. Not as good as what Bibarel could have been. Bibarel is greatly missed every single day, but I like it. Doesn't seem bad. And then, once again, another Weezing deck. So those were all the rogue decks here, literally in like the other deck category in this set. But we now can move on to some Cetitan EX decks here. So Cetitan EX is one that does fascinate me. It's very similar to Primal Groudon. So we can look at Cetitan here real quick. It does have the ability Snow Cover. Whenever your opponent plays an item or supporter card from their hand, prevent all effects of that card down this Pokemon. Effectively, this card cannot be like bossed up or anything like that. So it can sit on the bench and your opponent literally cannot gust it out, right? Which is insane. You can even protect it from like Prime Catcher, which is really cool. And then it's got the attack Crush Press, which for 4 energy does 140 damage. You can discard a stadium from play and then do 140 more damage. So you can do 280. You hit really good numbers. You're very bulky with 300 HP, and you have a very strong ability, making this a pretty good card. So I'm surprised it hasn't been seen even more play. But we can look at what Cetitan is being built. So this build is a little bit more of a straightforward one. We are seeing stuff like the Turbo Energize in the deck as a way to build it up. Obviously, being a water Pokemon means you can play Baxcalibur, and I'm sure we might see a Cetitan Baxcalibur deck. But I do like the idea of building up Cetitan EX with the help of the Turbo Energize. You can use Monkey Dory. The thing is really tanky, and Monkey does let you do more damage. You probably have to play a lot of stadiums if you're playing Cetitan, though. So I can even see this deck playing more than just 3 stadiums, like even 5 stadiums, to be honest, because it does need so many. Cetitan once again with Maractus and Monkey. I like the idea of that. Maractus in the active spot. You can use either corner or you can use its ability. So if they knock it out, they take 5 damage. You can Turbo Energize to your Cetitan with a Maractus in the active. I think that concept's actually really neat. So I do like that one too. And this one also uses Klefki as a wall in the active spot. It's not a bad idea. You do slow down decks that use stuff like Fan Rotom, Squawkabilly, Teal Mask, Ogre-Pon. I like that idea even more. Maybe Klefki is better than Maractus, actually. For that. This one plays 5 stadiums. Yeah, I like the idea of 5 stadiums. You kind of have to commit to a lot of stadiums if you're playing Cetitan. We got another build with Klefki and Monkey Dory. So, no Cetitan. So, all these Cetitan decks are aligned on Turbo Energize. So, none of them are playing Baxcalibur, which I guess you don't really have to play Baxcalibur with Cetitan. The idea of playing Turbo Energize makes sense. You have Crispin, you can play 2 to build it up. You can play like Water and Dark and then Crispin and stuff to power it up. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. couple of Cetitan decks here, but again, I think Cetitan does have a lot of potential. You just sit behind like a little wall, like the Maractus, or even like a Mimikyu could be decent. Klefki seems to be the best option, though. It's very similar to what Wobbuffet did. Wobbuffet Primal Groudon was like that combo you would use when you played the Primal Groudon deck. Wobbuffet's ability made it so all your opponent's non-psychic Pokemon had no abilities when it was in the active. So Klefki kind of does something sort of similar-ish. So it's like kind of a revived concept of the Primal Groudon deck. Next up is Team Rocket's Persian. Man, I cannot wait to play this one here. Team Rocket's Persian is a very cool card, mainly because of its attack, Arrogant Order, for 2 colorless energy, so a Team Rocket's energy. Your opponent reveals the top 10 cards of their deck. You may choose an attack from a Pokemon you find there and use it as the attack, and then your opponent shuffles their reveal cards back in their deck. Very wild attack. It can be very random, but in the early game, it can be very good when your opponent hasn't really put all their Pokemon into play. A very ridiculous attack here, and we can see how people have built their Team Rocket's Persian deck. So this one here just plays with spidops. I mean, makes sense. Probably like a good backup attacker to have within the Persian deck, obviously. You can use the spidops here to have a backup attacker, use Persian early on, and then maybe just clean up with the spidops. This one plays it with Charizard in the Terra engine. Interesting. I mean, the thing is, like, you never know where you're going to hit with Persian, right? If you're playing it like Dragapult, you can hit, like, random Phantom Dives and stuff. Or you can hit other big attacks, too. Even, like, other Terra Pokemon, like Wellspring for extra bench sniping. There's a lot of really weird things you could do with it. It's interesting to see it paired with Charizard. But, I mean, Charizard is one of those cards where play with anything and, boom, you may have yourself a deck. This one is playing it with the Flareon. So what I tell you, man? You can play a Persian with anything. This one's got it with Flareon EX. There's not even a Sylveon in the deck. Just got Leafeon, though, for some grass coverage against dark Pokemon. The Persian with Flareon is kind of wild. We'll see what else we got here. All right, we got Persian with Porygon Z. This makes sense. Porygon Z's got an attack. I think does more damage for each Team Rocket supporter card in your discard pile. If I remember correctly. Yeah, control our 20 damage for each Rocket's supporter card in your discard pile. So you can hit pretty hard. You can use Persian early on to do some damage. Only on 1/1 line, though. It's fascinating. Another Persian deck below it here, playing with Mewtwo. Yeah, that makes sense. Playing it within a Mewtwo deck doesn't seem bad. Again, like in the early game, you can hit these like random attacks with Persian. So sliding a 1/1 Persian line into your Mewtwo deck doesn't seem bad just because of you never know what you're going to copy with the Persian for big knockouts. And then we got another Persian build here with Teal Mask Ogerpon. So I guess that's not bad. It gives you an extra attacker versus Charizard, which we did see do really well at the recent Champions League. And then, of course, you can use Terrapagos with E-Switch to like build up Persian in one turn if you're not going to use Rocket's energy. And then you can use the Noctowl engine with the Persian. It leans a little bit more into Persian as your main attacker, but Teal Mask is like an okay backup attacker, I guess. Is it better than just playing the Team Rocket Spidops, though? Because they kind of do similar-ish things, right? They put energy into play, and then you can move it off for the Persian. But those are all the Persian decks. I mean, playing it by itself does seem kind of weird, because, like, at the end of the game, its attack value is going to be decreased quite a bit, and that first attack won't be as good. So playing it with, like, Spidops, Mewtwo, Charizard even, as you saw, or Flareon, doesn't seem bad, because I feel like this could be better in the early game. Like, Persian definitely feels like it's better in the early game, for sure. All right, next up we got Misty's Gyarados. I haven't looked at the Misty's Gyarados decks yet, so we do have to scroll down a little bit here to find the Misty's Gyarados. But this one does look like it's going to be another fun one. It's got the Splashing Panic attack for 1 Water Energy. Discard the top 7 cards of your deck. Do 7 damage for each amount of Misty's Pokemon you find there. So that's kind of crazy. You can hit really hard with the Misty's Gyarados. Now, the other combo with this is going to be pairing it with the Misty's Psyduck here. So while we're not getting the good Psyduck in Destined Rivals, we are getting Misty's Psyduck here with Slapstick Jump. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you discard it and put it at the bottom of your deck. If you do, discard all cards attached to this Pokemon and put it on top of your deck. So you can actually use it as a way to rig your deck for Gyarados. So Psyduck synergizes perfectly with Gyarados. Then you can use, like, Misty's Lapras here, swim together, search deck for 3 Misty's Pokemon, put them in your hand, you can grab all your Laprases and stuff. And then you have Magikarp, which is nice because Magikarp cannot be damaged by Phantom Dive or Teal Mask. You don't have to play Shaman. So nice little synergy there with all those cards. So let's look at some Gyarados decks. So I'm assuming they're all going to be kind of similar. It only needs 1 energy to attack. You see this build does have Academy at Night to put another Misty's Pokemon on top of your deck. You have Staryu, Starmie, Lapras, and Psyduck, and then the extra Gyaradoses. So you do have a pretty heavy quantity of Misty's Pokemon. So unfortunately, we didn't get like a Misty's Pokemon EX. That would have been kind of cool. Maybe they could have made Misty's Gyarados EX actually have the attack instead of like the 1 prize option. One interesting thing about this deck is the return of Sacred Ash. This card, while I don't think it's going to be great compared to like Night Stretcher and Super Rod, it is very good within the Misty deck specifically. It allows you to shuffle 5 Pokemon from your discard back in your deck. So you discard all these Pokemon with Gyarados, and then you use Sacred Ash to put the Pokemon back in the deck, which is really powerful. So there's some great synergy there with that. So yeah, I'm assuming they're all going to look the same. We'll see what the ace specs are. We see 2 of the Misty's Gyarados decks so far have been playing Legacy Energy as the ace spec. We see Academy at Night also within this one. Another one. This one plays Max Rod. Max Rod's not bad. You can put the Pokemon back into your hand, which is nice. You have Super Rod and Sacred Ash, I guess, as recovery. 4 Night Stretcher, 3 Academy at Night once again. You got the Kofus in the deck, which is an interesting idea. I guess Kofu can put Pokemon back in your deck, technically, and then you can like find a way to shuffle the deck. It's kind of interesting. This one's got the Miracle Headset as the ace spec. That's kind of interesting. Another Max Rod as the ace spec within this Gyarados here. And you all see they're just playing like heavy quantities of like Starmie, Psyduck, or Pheasantipity. There's not really any other cards to play in here. You don't want to make your deck too clogged up with non-Misty's Pokemon. So you can see these decks are like taking a very simple approach to how they're building the Gyarados decks. One's got Max Rod. Trolley is this a spec? Yeah, I like the idea of Legacy Energy, I think, the most. Because then like the Gyarados only gives up, you know, no prizes. So it makes you, your opponent has to go through effectively 7 Gyaradoses. But you can also attack with the Starmie, which I guess we can quickly look at. I mean, it's not like a great card by any means, but Starmie's like okay. It's got the attack Sudden Flash. If it evolved from Staryu, you could do 140 damage. It's like okay, I guess. Like it's somewhat of a decent backup attacker if you kind of need it. It's only really good for 1 turn though, but it gives you something to work with if you're not just going to rely heavily on Gyarados. But usually you're just trying to beat your opponent down with Gyarados. Honestly, if I'm building this deck, I would maybe just max out everything. Like even playing 4 Lapras, just high odds of hitting Misty's Pokemon. As much as you can. But yeah, I like these lists. I like Legacy Energy the most as the spec. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other spec I would play other than maybe Legacy. It seems like probably the best spec for this Gyarados deck. All right, finally, the last one I want to look at here was Steven's Metagross. So this one kind of seems to be forgotten about. Grimmsnarl's getting all the attention right now because Metagross and Grimmsnarl were like the 2 starter decks. So I think Metagross has some potential. So we'll take a look here at what the Metagross lists have looked like. We'll look at what Metagross does first. Just got to scroll down a little bit here to find it. But yeah, Steven's Metagross is very decent. I think this card is still good. I'm surprised it hasn't seen as much play. It's got the ability X-Boot. It's a stage 1 Steel-type Pokemon, 340 HP. X-Boot, once during turn. Search your deck for a basic Psychic Energy or a basic Metal Energy, or I could get both actually, and attach them to your Psychic or Metal Pokemon any way you like. It's Energy Acceleration for Metal Psychic types. Now, to be fair, they already have somewhat of an Energy Acceleration with like Gardevoir, Xatu, and Metang. Still, though, Metagross isn't bad. Its attack does 200 damage, which isn't bad either. And there are a lot of ways you could theoretically build a Metagross deck, which is why I'm surprised not seeing as much play. There's a lot of deck lists here we can look at. So let me just quickly translate this real quick. So yeah, this Metagross is just playing it with Dusknoir. So it's like Metagross can be the main attacker. So that's one way you can build your Metagross deck, is using Metagross as your main attacker. You can use Dusknoir as a way to do more damage. You can build up your own Metagross. You have the Lily's Clefairy in the deck. You can play Clefairy, so if you're playing against Dragapult, you do have Clefairy as a way to one-shot the Dragapult, and you can easily build up Clefairy in a single turn with Metagross's ability. We have another build here playing it with Monkey Dory. I guess we can look at what Steven's Carbink does. So another Steven's Pokemon here. It's got the ability Stone Palace. As long as this Pokemon is on the bench, each of your Steven's Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. So you can make your Metagross even tankier. So it does have 340 HP. All of a sudden, it will have 370 HP with the help of Carbink. So Carbink makes Metagross even stronger. And you have Monkey Dory in the deck you can use as a way to move damage off. So like a tank Metagross build also makes sense. You have Heroescape in the deck to give it even more HP, effectively giving it like 470 HP with the Steven's Carbink Heroescape combo. You can play it with the Full Metal Lab too, or there's a new Stadium. Also, you can play Granite Cave here. Steven's Pokemon also will then take 30 less damage. So you just have this super tanky Metagross in the active spot, effectively giving it, that's like, what, 500 HP with the Heroescape, the Granite Cave? Yo, that's kind of bizarre. Yo, I cannot wait to play this. See, why is this Metagross not doing as well? Like, bro, imagine playing against Dragapult and having 500 HP? Effectively, yo, that's insanity, bro. And then, yeah, you have Clefairy to blow him up, Monkey Dory. Another build here playing the Dusknoir. I'm surprised they're not, like, more tank builds. Just the Dusknoir, I guess, kind of makes sense. This one got top 8, actually, in a tournament, so it didn't even do that bad. Another Metagross build here is playing it with the Monkey Dory, the Mimikyu, Granite Tree, Jamming Tower. It does have a Carbink. It doesn't play Granite Cave or Heroescape, though. It does have Jamming Tower and Granite Tree as a way to get out your Metagross. You can also, pardon me, you can use Turo pretty effectively with Metagross 2 as a way to heal it even more. Should make Metagross even harder to kill. Ooh, this one's kind of wild. We got Revavroom in the deck here. So Revavroom gives you some draw, and you have a attacker. You can use that doesn't have an ability, which I guess can help against Cornerstone Ogerpon. You can use Mew EX with Metagross if you want to attack Cornerstone. That also works. This one does have the Granite Cave, as you can see there. Also playing the Carbink and the Monkey Dory for a bit more tank potential. Another build here, playing it with Granite Cave, and then does have the Carbink in there. It's got Mist Energy and Devo, so a little bit heavier tech out versus Dragapult, and then you have the Clefairy. I guess the Mist Energy makes sense, because against Roaring Moon, they can't, like, randomly Frenzy Gouge it. Again, you're sitting there with, like, almost 500 HP. Well, I guess this one doesn't play the Hero Escape, but you get my point, right? Like, Mist Energy kind of helps against Moon. Ooh, playing it with Pidgeot doesn't seem bad, and Frigoraph. So, Frigoraph is a Pokemon that could be really good against Raging Bolt. I guess that's one thing that the Metagross deck maybe has an issue against is Raging Bolt, because it can one-shot it. Even with all the tank potential and stuff, it's, like, still going to be a little sketchy. So, having Frigoraph makes the Raging Bolt matchup, like, super easy, right? So, maybe the Frigoraph is a 1-1 line, and Metagross makes sense. You can build it up fairly quickly with the help of Metagross's ability, right? So I like the idea of playing it with Frigoraph also as like a tech card. Doesn't seem bad either. If Raging Bolt continues to see success in Destined Rivals, which I think it will. It's doing good in Japan. Another build here, playing with Carbink, 2 monkeys, Granite Cave. It's got Trolley as a spec. This one also plays Trolley, but this one has even more monkeys. It's got 3 Monkey Dories in the deck and has a 2/2 line of the Dunsparce for even more draw. Having a bit of a draw engine, I like it. Instead of playing with like Pidgeot or something, this one also happened to got, top 8, so not bad either. Ooh, Metagross Hydreigon. Hey, that doesn't seem bad. I mean, Hydreigon does need a Metal and Psychic Energy to attack. You can build up Hydreigon with Metagross. The issue with this build, there's a lot of Stage 2s in the deck, but, Hydreigon already plays Pidgeot. That's already a Stage 2. This one has Scramble Switch as you expect to move into the Hydreigon. That's kind of crazy. I'm definitely excited to try out a Hydreigon Metagross deck. That one has me pretty excited. We got a Metagross build once again with the Clefairy, Mew, Monkey Dory, Grand Tree being the A-Spec. This one also has the Dunsparce in here, Enriching Energy to draw more cards, and the new Super Potion. Actually, Super Potion came out in Journey Together, I think. It's not good. Yeah, I got reprinted Journey Together. For some reason, I thought I got reprinted Destined Rivals. No, that was definitely Journey Together. But Super Potion does make sense. You can use Super Potion to heal Metagross, and then you can just reattach the energy, discard energy, heal 60, reattach with Metagross' ability. Doesn't seem bad. This one plays Carbink. No Granite Cave, opts for Artisan, but I guess you have the Dunsparce in there. You can play the Dunsparce EX. Like I said, helps a little bit against Cornerstone Ogerpon, which could be annoying for this deck to deal with because Metagross has an ability. Another Metagross build with the Revavroom in there. So getting creative with the walls. This one also plays the Dunsparce. This one's got the Slowbro from Scarlet and Violet. That's cool. Slowbro can move all the damage onto itself, and you can try to find a way to heal it. Another way to heal your Metagross. Just trying to find ways to make Metagross super tanky. Slowking Metagross, that's kind of wild. It's got top 16, actually didn't do bad. So I guess Metagross is here just to power up Slowking in one turn. You can use his ability to put the Psychic and Metal on it, build the Slowking, and then copy Kyurem or Gigas. I like the creativity. That seems kind of decent. Slowking Metagross. Was Gardevoir just a better option, though, is the question. Because I feel like Gardevoir would be a little bit better than playing it with Metagross, but it's cool. It got top 16, didn't do bad. I guess there's benefits to playing Metagross over Gardevoir, maybe? I don't know. Metagross with Zoroark. I don't hate that either. Zoroark has trade. Trade's really good. Is it better than Dunsparce, though? I don't know. Maybe. Then we got another Metagross with the monkeys. All right, here we go. I was about to say, we've only seen one Metagross with the Hero Escape, but this one also plays Hero Escape and Pidgeot and a Granite Cave and the Carbink and stuff. So yeah, this one also is like a super tanky build of the Metagross, has in the Hero Escape and the Pidgeot for a little bit of extra support. I don't hate it. Yeah, I like the idea of Pidgeot and Metagross. Seems okay. More Metagross action here. I guess there's Steven Skarmory we can look at. I don't think there's anything too crazy. You can build up a Metagross. It's got the attack Sonic Double, 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Kind of mediocre. You can build up a Metagross, but we have Shaman coming out. I don't know if this is going to be very good, to be honest with you. It could be cute, but probably not great. Another build with Frigoraph. Like I said, I like the idea of playing Frigoraph. This one did get top 8 in a tournament, so this one seems decent. The Frigoraph, again, helps against Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt is really popular in Japan, which is probably why they played it. This one's got the Claydol. I guess Steven's Claydol we can quickly look at, too. It's got Clay Blast. It's 220, discard all energy from it. It's okay. It can be a great way to take a big one-shot, I guess. It's more of a Claydol deck, I guess, than a Metagross EX deck in that regard, just looking at it. Another build here with the Frigoraph, Monkey Dory. Another build here playing Teal Mask Ogerpon. It's interesting. Using Ogerpon, I guess, to have an extra attacker and energy acceleration. That's fascinating. It's like a Terra Metagross deck, because you have the Noctowl in there, too, alongside the Ogerpon. This one plays Hop Zacian. You can build up Zacian, too, right? It's a metal Pokemon. You can power Metagross. You do have Snorlax in there for more damage. There's no Post-Wick. Opts to play Granite Cave still and Artisan with the Carbink there for a little bit of extra tank potential. Another Pidgeot build. This one does play Grand Tree, though, and has Cleffa and Clefairy. Almost got the two mixed up for some reason. Another Dunsparce build with Friggraff. I like this idea of playing it with like Friggraff and Dunsparce. Just Dunsparce seems cool because you can put it back in the deck. So if you're trying to tank hits, you can like remove your boss targets off the board. I guess that's cool. This one got top 16. This one opts for Max Spell ZA spec. Metagross does do 200 damage, so it does fall short on some KOs. So you have Max Belt in there, you can take bigger knockouts. Obviously, you do have Monkey Dory for technically more damage, because trust me, that Metagross is not getting one hit KO'd very easily. So you can like still do extra damage via Monkey Dory if you have to. But the Max Belt makes sense to do like 250. You can do up to like 280 damage with Monkey Max Belt combo. Another build here, playing Trolley, 2 Grand a Cave. Yo, this one's got double and Dedenne EX. I haven't seen Dedenne EX in a while. I think it like moves damage from one of your Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. So you sponge it with Metagross. You have the big air balloons in the deck to retreat the Metagross into the Dedenne. It's got Hero Escape. So it's like another tank build. And then you build up the Dedenne like really easily with Metagross' ability. And then you just move all the damage and fully heal the Metagross. Kind of a nasty combo. Another build with Friggraff and Pidgeot. Another Friggraff build. This one has Room. It's a Dronjin though. Another Dusknoir build here to wrap things up. It's got the Hero Escape, though, and the Granite Cave, so it's a bit of a both split. It's got the Dusknoir and the tank approach. But yeah, those are all the Metagross EX decks. Again, this card feels very underrated. I'm surprised it's not doing as well as, like, the Grimmsnarl is. I guess it does have its weaknesses, but it's really cool, right? You can tank a lot of hits with it. There's a lot of different ways you can build it. You can play with Clefairy and stuff, so you have a better time in a Dragapult. You can build up the Clefairy in one turn with the Metagross, so I like it. But there you go. Those are all the other Destined Rivals Rogue decks to look at in today's video. We saw some really cool Team Rockets decks, like the Tyranitar, the Weezing decks, the Huntail Gorbis deck look cool, the Nidoking deck, and we saw Cetitan, which I'm very excited for Cetitan. I think Cetitan and Metagross are both like fairly underrated new archetypes that I'm surprised we just hadn't seen more decks. Like I was surprised by the lack of Cetitan decks we looked at, because I think there's a lot of potential for Cetitan in this meta. And then the Misty Gyarados deck definitely looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to play too as a fun one-price deck, kind of like that Iron Thorns future deck. And then obviously we looked at the Persian deck here, which is really cool too. But there you go, folks. Those are all the rogue decks we looked at here in Destined Rivals. I'm sure some of these decks might be in a future video on the second channel coming out before Destined Rivals, you know, looking at 12, 13 new archetypes from Destined Rivals. So definitely excited to play all these new decks. Again, the set is huge, and there's a lot of fun decks to come out of the new set. Way more than Journey Together had, so very excited to try it out. Again, I'll leave a link to Pokeka book down below if you want to go look at any of these decks for yourself and build any. If you're trying to build IRL decks for Destined Rivals to proxy and playtest, maybe, you know, the site is a great way to build those decks. And I got some deck profiles hopefully coming out very soon here on the channel too, which I'm definitely excited for. But hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, again, leave a like, subscribe down below. We're getting very close to 23K subs, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.